Everyone, just 2 weeks away until Election Day, just over that, and we felt it'd be time to welcome in two of our favorite guests. Just about once every year or once every 4 years for the presidential election, we bring them in. Senate races as well. From FLS Group, it is Mark Lutke and B.J. Fisher. Great to see both of you.
Good to see you.
One of my favorite segments on this show. You guys ready?
We're ready.
We are ready. You know, this is the year. Got to be ready, right?
Yeah.
Lots of commercials.
Have you noticed a few ads?
You think that's true? You know, we were talking a little bit before the segment. Toledo, in particular, and Ohio in general, is at the epicenter of all of the commercials because we are a swing state, still very much contested. I think if you go to New York, which is locked in for Obama, or Kansas, which is locked
California?
in for, yep,
right?
You're not going to see it all as much as we're seeing here. So this is very definitely a high-spend state.
Yeah, almost zero in those states that have been decided from each candidate, and it's really hard to believe when you think about the number of electoral votes out in California or in Texas or what have you. All right, let's start out with first. Let's go for the President Obama ad, and we see, I believe, Scott Pelley, the CBS anchor, on the airplane with Mitt Romney. Take a look at this one.
You made on your investments personally about $20 million last year, and you paid 14% in federal taxes. That's the capital gains rate. Is that fair to the guy who makes $50,000 and paid a higher rate than you did? So you think it is fair?
Yeah, I think it's the right way to encourage economic growth.
Lower tax rates for him than us. Is that the way to grow America?
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
All right, and so much of the Obama campaign made that Mitt Romney he's not going to tax the rich guy, not paying his fair share. BJ, start with that. The effectiveness of the Scott Pelley on the airplane ad.
Well, what makes it effective is the fact that they've got him saying it himself in his own words on screen. It's not a statement in a newspaper that you pull out. I mean, he is actually on camera saying that.
With
it's
some
fair.
editing, though, correct?
Oh, sure,
right?
but
I mean, not necessarily.
But I wouldn't expect him to say that he thought it was unfair, right? I think that's what makes the ad get people's attention.
Yeah.
But the Obama strategy from the beginning has been to attack Romney and bring his positives down in order to win the election. That's been the strategy they've used really all year since the end of the primaries.
Mark, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, you know, it reinforces what I'm sure their Obama polling tells them is what people think, which is that Romney's out of touch. He's a rich white guy, you know, and it uses his own words to do it. So I think a very deft piece of work in terms of accomplishing what they need to have accomplished.
All right, and we know, and as you alluded to, Ohio is the epicenter of this whole thing come November 6th. And with that in mind, Mitt Romney's one of his ads is specifically about Ohio.
The question Ohio families are asking is who can bring back the jobs? Under President Obama, we've lost over 500,000 manufacturing jobs, and China has passed us in manufacturing. I'll stand up to China. I have a detailed plan to create 12 million new jobs, including producing our own energy in the ground in Ohio. I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message because Ohio families can't afford 4 more years like the last 4 years.
Okay, and that's, I mean, driven right at everybody in our viewing audience.
Yeah.
Pretty smart, would you say?
Well, I don't know. I give him effort for making a commercial aimed at Ohio voters. However, if you look at the data, it may not ring true because employment in Ohio is up over the national average. The bailout plan here has worked, even in Toledo. You know, a lot of people going back to work.
John Kasich says that's it. You know,
well,
that's John Kasich.
but he's not running this time. You know, so I think the reality is he's making points that probably would work in states that are probably not quite as showing as much progress. But in Ohio, I just wonder if the average tax-paying person really responds to that.
Not sure about that, huh? Not sure.
I'm wondering.
Okay, and then we have with the debate coming up tomorrow night. I mean, basically, this is a dead heat here. Where do you see the ads going now? Are there, even 2 weeks out, can there be a game-changing ad, BJ?
Yeah, well, there certainly could be game-changing moments. I mean, we can think back, you know, there was the George Bush DUI story right before the election a few years ago. So, no, I think that you will continue to see an intense battle, and I still think that things that are said, there's always the opportunity for somebody to say something wrong. So I think, and you're right, it is an incredibly close election, and especially here in Ohio, where both sides feel like they need to win, I think you'll see a really intense battle coming home.
Mark is the president of FLS Group, and you've taken a look at this whole campaign. Has it been well orchestrated by either one? I mean, have you seen missteps, and home runs, in particular the ads that have been put on?
Well, you know, I think inherently a campaign is chaotic, right? Because you have to deal with changing activities and trends
daily,
all the time, So I think within that, what you're seeing is a lot of activity being placed on keeping the commercials up to date, using new information all the time. So I think you're seeing certainly a campaign that has kept up with what's going on. I think it's probably, if I were a voter, saying a little hard to track. You know, the detail both in the commercials and in the debates is maybe just starting to flow together.
Are we all just a little numb from it all,
and so, you know, from that standpoint, I think what each candidate is trying to do, which is to paint a picture of the opponent's personality, is probably on track. The fact that Obama's trying to get you to get his version of Romney and vice versa, and that probably is working as well.
One of the most contentious and costly Senate races is Ohio. It is Josh Mandel, the state treasurer. It is the incumbent Senator Sherrod Brown. And here's one of the ads in the nasty Senate campaign.
Don't believe the attacks.
No one's done more for Ohio workers than Sherrod Brown.
He led the fight to pass the auto rescue package. And Sherrod Brown fought to punish China.
To punish China when they cheat on trade deals.
It's Josh Mandel we should worry about.
Mandel says he would have voted against saving the auto industry.
Against saving the auto industry.
And Josh Mandel's against putting tariffs on China.
Against tariffs on China.
It's Sherrod Brown we trust.
It's Sherrod Brown we trust to fight for us.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
All right, China and the auto rescue. I mean, just put it on the ad, right, BJ?
Yeah, we always say that in marketing that repetition is the key, and so they took that to a fault on that one. So I think punish China was the key word. You know, obviously Senator Brown take a massive amount of attacks from the out-of-state organizations.
Karl Rove's organization.
Exactly. And
Crossroads.
he's been just besieged with these on his economic record, and it was really important in these times that he be able to present himself with a positive economic record. And in that case, obviously they're not getting too subtle about what they're trying to bring across, which is the automotive thing, also a big factor in the presidential race, and then punishing China.
Yeah, it's outside money. I want to make sure that I'm not sure if that was a Crossroads ad, so or that certainly wasn't the Sherrod Brown ad there.
Right.
But we do have the Josh Mandel ad, and this goes to style and kind of going back to an old favorite. Let's take a look at that one.
Yeah.
A good-paying job is much more than dollars and cents. It means stability for your family, security for your children and grandchildren. Josh Mandel understands that. That's why he has a plan to put Ohioans back to work, working together with Democrats and Republicans. Because it's not just about the paycheck. It's about the quality of life and the future we give our children. Josh Mandel.
I'm Josh Mandel, and I approve this message.
And we can everybody can be happy.
Yeah.
Sit around the table.
Yeah, I think in many ways this commercial needed to be made by the Mandel campaign because it's been so toxic. These two guys have gone at it very personally over time.
Those were two of the more benign ads.
They were, and I think that probably to try to humanize Mandel and get him back to being you know, a family guy. I didn't mention the fact that he was a Marine, but I think that's a piece that they could use. Just to sort of end, you always want to end in a positive, right? And I think that's kind of what they're trying to do here, even though we have 2 weeks to go, but I think to show the family. Now, on the other hand, Brown has done an awfully good job of kind of taking Mandel apart in terms of some of his hiring practices and some of his job performance in the first 2 years.
The cronyism accusations.
Right. So I think a question of whether this kind of a spot really works in light of 6 months of that negative stuff.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, we're already seeing. We don't know the results, but early voting has been going on for a while now. Yeah. Mark Lutke, BJ Fisher, always a pleasure.
Thank you so
both
much.
The end
Good to see you.
From the FLS Group. Come back in just a minute. Take 3 more.